We're off furlough and back in the air. Welcome to the Pilot Wife Podcast. I'm Jackie Elmer, and this is a space for women living unconventional lives filled with travel, partnership, and intentional living. You'll find more on YouTube at Travel Life by a Pilot Wife, and you can grab the Pilot Wife checklist and more at pilotwifepodcast.com. Check the show notes for details. Well, hello and welcome back to the Pilot Wife Podcast. If you've been here before, welcome home. If you're new, I'm so glad you found your way here. You could say this podcast has been on furlough after a little time on the ground. Why? Well, let's just say 2025 was a hot mess. It literally was filled with a lot of turbulence in this particular Pilot Wife family. Here's a quick synopsis. My daughter, Lexi, at age 29, was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia, a cancer. We went through chemo, hair loss. She moved in with us and basically had a stem cell transplant in September and has pretty much been in lockdown because of a compromised immune system, all of that. So it definitely grounded our family and kind of derailed me from doing a lot of different things, as you can imagine. In the midst of all of that, in February, I moved my parents into assisted living. My mom went into a diabetic coma in March and passed away in April. And shortly after that, my 93-year-old father moved in with us. So I have been a caregiver on both ends of the spectrum. But you know what? It really does teach you a lot about yourself. And if you're willing to, do trial by fire, which most of us have to at certain times, you will learn a lot about yourself. So needless to say, that grounded all of us. I called in maintenance, and now with the turning of the calendar to 2026, I'm happy to say we appear to be fueled, loaded, and cleared for takeoff. So we're looking forward to smooth skies ahead with occasional turbulence, hopefully nothing like 2025, of course, because this is real life. That said, I want to assure you this podcast is about more than simply being married to or partnered up with a pilot. It's about a fun, adventuresome lifestyle outside the box, independence and personal growth, marriage and committed relationships that last, even weathering some storms, living well when your life is anything but predictable, as mine has been, and possibly yours has too. We also cover travel, great destinations, fashion, great dining, and experiences. Like you, most likely, over time, I have evolved. My life has evolved. I was forced to reckon with some things that I was merely giving lip service to. Honestly, living in gratitude, living in the present moment, coming to terms with all that I cannot control. It's easy to say those things, and then occasionally we get bopped over the head and we're forced to really live them and experiencing them. So understanding and navigating the roles of being a wife, a mom, a daughter, a sister, a friend, as well as my own goals, purpose, freedom, a business, they've all changed and deepened for sure. It's been tough. It's been soul-sucking, and ultimately, it has been a gift as I have grown, reached into the depths of my soul for strength, and come out so much better and stronger. And to the many of you who reached out to me knowing what was going on through Facebook groups, Facebook posts, all the rest of that, can I sincerely tell you how much that has meant to me? I wasn't able to respond to all the comments, but just know every prayer, every reach out, every text, every email, every card, they all mean and meant so much. So this community at the Pilot Wife Podcast is a space for women who live unconventional lives, love deeply without disappearing into the identity of those who we're married to. We know how to stand on our own 2 feet and still value that partnership, the devotion, and connection. And we know how to navigate challenging times, whether it's the garage door falling off its hinges, or an adult child diagnosed with cancer, a young child diagnosed with something, aging parents, doesn't matter what it is, we're faced with those things from time to time. And we learn how to navigate all of that with grace, with style, and with resilience, coming out truly better for it if we allow that to happen. We embrace the aviation lifestyle and the community we can build together. And we know how to have fun and adventure along the way. Sure, we talk about aviation life, schedules, absences, independence by necessity, merging airlines, bankruptcies, conflict in the world, gas prices that affect everything that have to do with travel. So we talk about those things, the loneliness, the anxiety, how to conquer these derailers. But we also talk about identity beyond roles, marriage over the decades, midlife reinvention, health, rhythms, and emotional intelligence. Those are those things that see us through the tough times. We talk about money, purpose, self-trust, pilot trust, setting boundaries around family time, social media, and workplace relationships. And we talk a lot about designing a life that actually fits you. We are not a one-size-fits-all, nor is anybody. So we think of this as a place where we don't just survive the lifestyle, we learn how to grab the throttle and fly the plane well. We open a space for you to explore and define who you want to be instead of who you should be, how you want your marriage to look versus how people tell you it should look, or what label you choose to wear. I'm here to invite thoughtful conversation, the kind that happen at cruising altitude, where things get quieter, clearer, and more expansive. This is a podcast for women who are done with the noise, ready for wisdom, perspective, and calm confidence. So here's what to expect. Typically, I say typically because real life does get in the way sometimes, typically one episode per week dropping on Fridays. My fantastic flight Fridays. What a perfect day to combine all my F words. Audio and video on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube. I mentioned it's under Travel Life by a Pilot Wife, or you can just type in my name, Jackie Elmer, and you will find the channel. We have a lot of thoughtful solo episodes based on my experiences as a pilot wife for 37 years and being in aviation prior to that myself. I know, I started when I was 10. We have group conversations and interviews. We talk about travel, pilot wife group trips, and fun destinations with city details like restaurants, coffee shops, wine bars, shopping, a little fashion and travel accessories, and certainly sightseeing. I know there's a group of us planning a Sedona trip this year, so stay tuned for that and watch for some of the details. We have a short runway and strong lift. All right, there's a lot happening in the world right now. Aviation life can be turbulent, we know that. But with a solid flight plan and checklist, it's easily navigable. So make sure that you check the show notes and go back to past episodes. You can just Google in the search box even, I know one of the hot topics was pilot infidelity. I don't know why that's always such a strong one, but we'll be covering more of that. There's plenty of information on that, handling the holidays, life with kids, homeschooling, all of the different things. So you can use the search box to find past episodes. And, it's interesting. Whenever life becomes uncertain or feels uncertain, women start asking better questions. Who am I really? What do I value? What kind of life am I building? And how do I want to show up in any situation? And that this podcast is for those women asking those questions and refusing to rush the answers. So you're welcome here, whether you're a pilot wife, a former pilot wife, contemplating being a pilot in aviation, married, partnered, or redefining your life entirely, or perhaps you're someone with an adventuresome spirit and also navigating a relationship and lifestyle that's outside the norm of the corporate 8 to 5, weekends off, blah, blah, blah. You're all welcome here. So grab your boarding pass, settle into your seat, fasten your seatbelt, and let's take this next season together. We're starting with a powerful conversation around identity, including an upcoming topic that's everywhere right now. So next week, it's a hot one, the trad wife versus the modern wife. Wowzer. If you have any information you want to share with me, make sure you go to pilotwifepodcast.com and you'll find the link to email me. We'll talk about more about keeping your own identity. We've covered this before. The link will be in the show notes. We talk about keeping the romantic spark alive, giving them a reason to want to come home to you every single trip. Talk about boundaries, systems that make the marriage and the home and the family life run more smoothly. Whatever you want covered, drop me a topic idea, again, over at pilotwifepodcast.com. You'll find the links. And I just want to thank you for being patient. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for welcoming this podcast either into your life for the first time or back into your life. So the Pilot Wife Podcast is officially off furlough. I'll see you next week right here. So remember, each Friday, we're back in the air with a new episode. I'd love to have you on board. Consider it your weekly check-in at cruising altitude. A pause, a reset, a moment to think clearly before the weekend. So make sure you're subscribed. That's also known as autopilot. Make sure you're following the show and share this with another pilot wife or woman anywhere who might need a little bit of inspiration. Thanks for listening to the Pilot Wife podcast. New episodes drop every Friday, so subscribe and don't miss a flight. You'll find more on YouTube at Travel Life by a Pilot Wife and the free Pilot Wife checklist at pilotwifepodcast.com. I'll see you next week. Hey, pilot wife and fellow aviator, I'm Jackie Ulmer. With nearly 4 decades as a pilot wife, I'm here to help you navigate the ups and downs and turbulence that can go along with this lifestyle. To learn more about the resources and coaching I offer, go to pilotwifepodcast.com and make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, Travel Life by a Pilot Wife.